I have been asked to show how I make my pleated masks, so I'll do a quick video here. All I use for my template is the measurements of 10 inches by 16 inches for an adult. All I did here was I grabbed a couple of pieces of cardstock, I taped them together, and then I just cut them out 10 inches by 16 inches. For the fabric, if you have a directional fabric, you'll want the direction to be vertical. This fabric here, it's multi-directional, so I'll just go ahead and lay it out. You can pin it down, I don't really need to. I usually cut out multiple layers of fabric at one time because I'm usually running through about 10 or so masks at a time. For this case, I'll just show one layer. So I just have it laid out. Go ahead and cut it out. Okay. And then on my TikTok video, I showed that I cut out the very corners of it. And the reason for that is once you start sewing it, it will create a bulky area and it's uncomfortable on the face, and I've busted several sewing needles through it. So all I do is I just layer up fold up the fabric, and I will cut out about a 1 inch by 2 inch corner. If it's easier to see like this, I'll just cut out about 2 inches by 1 inch on each side. To make it quicker, I usually just fold it up and match up all the corners and then just cut out all the pieces together. I haven't figured out what I want to do with all these little scraps, but I do keep them. I figured some kind of fun decoupage project later would be fun. From here, I'm going to go ahead and fold over my hems, fold over my edges. I, on my craft table, will usually use this bamboo cutting board. It's just quick and convenient. My little mini iron, I bought this at Joann's. It's a Dritz Mighty Steam Iron. They run $34.99. I don't remember if a coupon will work on it, but even if it doesn't, it's well worth the $30 or so. For the edges, I fold over about a half an inch, and I just do a quick press on both sides. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I feel like cutting it on the wood board, it helps steam it all the way through the fabric. Does a really good job for creases. So then once I have the edges folded over, I will just do, I think it's probably about a 1/4 inch seam or so, maybe about a 3 inch seam. And I've been asked about this little fabric that I leave here. If you are familiar with sewing, of course, usually if you don't have this and you start to sew, the thread will pull out of the needle and you wind up having to thread the needle. All the new machines now have a feature that'll automatically thread it. I'm using an older machine. It's a Singer solid state heavy duty, and it's gotten me through about 750 masks or so since March. But anyway, so since I don't have that feature to auto thread, what I do is I just keep a little piece of fabric under here. Then when I'm ready for my next project, the stitches are just ready to go straight through. So I run the seam through, and I usually just flip the edge around and just get the other one at the same time. That way you're not cutting threads in between. And then I'll throw on my little anchor. So now I can just clip the edges. Clip that off. Okay, so now we're going to iron again. And if your fabric has like a pattern that you want to try and line up, you can go ahead and measure it. Like let's say for example, I want Thor right on the very top. So on the back, I'm just going to fold it over to match and bring the other side up. I overlap it maybe about 1/4 of an inch or so. It's not really exact. I just kind of overlap it just a bit. I'm going to steam the edges again to form a crease. Now I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to go ahead and create my 2 pleats. So again, if you have a design on the front, you want to try and capture the best images, you can kind of adjust where you're going to do the pleats. But to show you, I just pinch the top 2 and I bring it down, and I'll do a steam a crease here, and then I pinch all the layers again and I bring it down again. I just kind of line them up and I steam that again. Okay, now that goes away. This comes back. I'm going to flip this over. So this is the back side. So from the back side on the edges, if it's uneven at all, then go ahead and trim. Find my scissors. Go ahead and trim it just a little bit so it's just even. That side's fine. So from the back side, this is where you can see where that notch was cut out. If I had left that fabric there, it's going to create this big bulky area here, and when you're wearing your mask, you can sometimes feel that bulky little piece on your cheeks. But also, since we cut it out, once we fold over about 1/2 inch and another 1/2 inch, we're going to run a stitch, and we're going to do it close to the edge here. That way it leaves a channel here where you can run through your elastic. So again, I'm just going to run it right along the edge. Go ahead and do your anchor stitch, that way it doesn't pull through. And I usually just keep 2 of these, that way I can run them. And then pull through, fold over the other side, about 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. Okay, and for the mask part, you're done. The front side has your design. The back side, once you pull it open a little bit, if you want to insert an additional filter, you can. It creates a pocket in the back. A filter can simply be paper towels, paper, coffee filters. Some people will put a piece of flannel, an additional just piece of fabric, anything you'd like if needed. But it's double layered, 100% cotton. I have not added extra filters to mine, but it's your preference. For the elastic, the most comfortable that I've found is a 1/8 inch elastic. There are many kinds of elastic. There's all different types of shape and texture. This was a very soft one I found at a fabric store. It's just very soft and it's very stretchy. I bought this one on Amazon, and it's labeled like 1/8 inch elastic cording, and I think in the description it'll say for masks. There's also elastic cording that I found at Michael's in the jewelry section. I bought these when in a pinch there was no elastic anywhere. So I bought this elastic cording, and I had a lot of comments that it was very comfortable. It's very nice and soft and stretchy. I bought this at Joann's. It's the Dritz 1/8 soft stretch elastic. I think they're probably about $3 per package, I guess. And then I also found this. I bought these on Amazon. I bought 100 yards, and I've gone through about 3 of these so far because I've made so many masks. So for today's, I'm just going to go ahead and use the one that I bought at Joann's. I cut 12 inches per side. And the reason why I do that is once I run it through, I will put a tie at the very end of it, and then when I send it to the wearer, I put instructions just telling them try it on, add in a new knot where it fits you best, and then you can trim off the edge. So my table is 4 feet long, so I know this half is 2 feet. So I'll cut that in half, and then cut it in half again. So now each side is 12 inches. If you're making them for children, you don't have to make them this long. You can do them maybe like 10 inches, and then you can still trim it if needed. So to run it through the mask, you can use a safety pin. You can use, a yarn needle. My best friend for masks has been a bodkin. This bodkin is from Hobby Lobby. I paid about $4, but I used the coupon on it. And the reason why I like this one the best is it has this little loop at the end for your finger. It's very long, and then at the very end it has this little hook. So it pulls through the elastic, and it closes as it pulls through so it doesn't catch any extra threads. So all you do is you run it through. I just lost my elastic. You hook it and you slide it through. And then all I do is I do a little knot at the very, very end. Whoop. And I'll do this on both sides. When I mail them out, I tend to leave it like this, and it'll have the instructions saying to try it on, and if you need it tighter, just add a new little knot about 1/4 inch below it, and then you can hide the knot in the mask. And that's all done.